Hey, welcome to Calc. Looking forward to having an exciting class with you guys and hopefully a more normal school year here. Calc is going to be fun. Will it be the simplest and easiest class you've ever had? No. Is it going to be well worth it? Most definitely. So, a couple things you should know. I believe almost all of you will be able to get college credit for the technically you have to be in the top 30 of your class as a junior or top half of your class GPA wise as a senior. Your grade will mostly be based on tests, with 25% of your grade being your final. It's a semester long class, so your grade does not start over at quarter time. Besides your test and your final, you'll have a little bit of stuff for homework in there and vocab. Now, when it comes to homework, there's the recommended problems that you should be doing all the time. But for the homework grade, you'll have about 25 problems throughout the whole semester you'll have to type up and turn in. The details in that we'll probably go ahead and talk more about in class. But for the most part, you're going to have an equation editor assignment that I want you to go ahead and work on here prior to class starting. It can easily be done with Microsoft Word, with the equation editor. The assignment tells you kind of what to do with that. It can be done with Google Docs. Google Docs is not as easy, but it will work. And then Google Docs is getting easier all the time, but I still think Microsoft Word works best. Typically, you're going to have vocab quizzes before every test, in which I give you the word and you have to write out your definition. Go ahead and try to get registered for college credit as soon as you can. If you're able to get it all figured out before class starts, that's great. If you want to wait till class starts and have some of your classmates help you, that's perfectly fine too. For the most part, the first 2 weeks are kind of more self-directed worksheets to give you an intuitive idea of what calculus is about. There's two main concepts of calc, and 1 week we'll be working on the main intuitive concept for that, and then the second week we'll be working on the second main intuitive concept. Um, I do see a mistake here. It says it's on Moodle. No, it's not. It's on Google Classroom like everything else is right now. There are some videos to help support you with that, and I do expect you to watch those, even if you feel like you understand stuff. Um, what you should know about class is I expect all students to be able to learn at a high level. So yes, that's you. You will make mistakes, and mistakes are good because it grows the brain. Questions are really important. However, if you have questions and don't get your questions answered, that's not good. So whether you're getting your answers from me or a fellow classmate, I don't really care as long as you're getting your questions answered. And so that means you're going to actually have to be asking the questions you have. And mathematics is really making sense about patterns. And calc is really going to pull together pretty much everything you've learned up to this point. So it's really a neat class because of that, because it pulls so much together and helps you see all these connections. And that's what we're really talking about here, not necessarily connections in all the stuff you've learned up to this point, but being able to represent stuff visually with graphs and pictures, but also with equations and explaining stuff. So, what should you do to be successful? This is what prior students have said. Well, one thing is you should study. Study for your vocab and understand it. Don't just memorize it. And do all the recommended homework, not necessarily the ones that are just turned in, but all the recommended homework. By the way, the numbers afterwards are how many people said that. Like down here, work every day, don't take a day off, don't get behind. There's 44 people that have said that. Um, Ask questions. Um, Study, don't assume you know all the material. Do the review several times. Here's a note that a lot of people have said is start the review a couple days before your test and get a good night's sleep before your test. Now, you can pause the video and read through the rest of these. Um, One thing I was going to make a comment on, it says come in early in the mornings. Yes, you're welcome to. I'm typically here by 7. You're welcome to come in at 7. I don't know if this is going to be as important this year or not with the Calc Study Skills class during 3B. You're welcome to come in the mornings, but it may not be as important since we have that extra time. So go ahead and read through the rest of these two. Since this is a college course, you need to make sure you're aware of what the college is expecting in the honesty policy. For the most part, if you would choose to cheat for any reason, um, and what you do for cheating, it can be a very serious long-term offense. So you can read through your syllabus to get more information on this, but for the most part, I don't expect this will be an issue because I don't expect anybody will be cheating. But just know if you would choose to, there can be some long-term consequences. Not necessarily just not receiving credit, but not being able to take college classes at any college. It would be the most extreme situation. A couple of things once we get into the main material after the first 2 weeks. You'll be expected to watch the video before class, take the notes before class, and then we're going to spend time in class doing math problems and making sense of stuff and truly taking it to a deeper level for you guys. Once again, the videos during the first couple of weeks are there to support you as you work through these worksheets. I do expect you to watch them. They're not always the exact same problem, but they're there to give you a nice understanding of what's going on with these problems. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Google Classroom site. So this is some of the things that you're supposed to be working on. Try to get registered before. Here's that equation editor stuff that you can work on. If we look at this, it kind of tells you how to get it going on your computer. And for the most part, I just want you to duplicate what I have right here and then submit it to me. Just through an email. Homework corrections. Some of you have already turned in your homework. Most of the time, people are going to have to do corrections on it. I'll be posting grades in Infinite Campus, so you'll know if you need to do corrections or not. For the most part, if you don't get a 20 out of 20 on your correction stuff, or how many are correct, you'll need to do corrections and you can earn back half of your points. Now here, this is just about doing some reading. You'll have to do some reading and respond to this. There was an email sent out about that. Here's what former students are saying about Calc. Go ahead and do some reading. This one over here is all my prior classes. This one here is just the last few classes that have taken it. So go ahead and read through that. The day one video, hey, that's what we're working on right now. The Getting to Know You survey. By the way, just like in prior classes, you can always look at your schedule here to see what's going on, when tests are, what's expected, and so on. Down below is your link to your syllabus. Go ahead and read through that so that you know what's going on, because you're going to be held responsible for everything that's in there. Link to graph paper if you're working at home. Also, I do have some graph paper in class available this year. Also, here's your vocab. There's vocab as a Word document and a PDF. Sometimes people like the Word document because they're doing online study cards or something like that. Also, the hand-in problems that we'll talk more about in class that you'll be expected to type up and turn in at some point. Once we get down below here is where we'll get into the lessons for what's going to go on during our normal class time.